Dear viewer, this is a message from an ancient Greek historian looking upon you from the Nah, I'm just kidding. That's not my real voice. Look, I'm just trying to get in the mood of Greece because this is what we're going to be talking about. Ancient Greece. We're going to get at it. Alright, so we're going to be starting off, doing the iceberg. We're going to be talking about facts, random theories, everything about ancient Greece. Everything's going to be covered. I gotcha. Alright, we're going to go into depth. So everyone knows how the iceberg works, so we're just going to start off light, We're going to go into aspect of how Greece is the cradle of Western civilization. Alright, so check this out. Greece is often referred to as the cradle of Western civilization because of its pivotal role in shaping many aspects of our modern world. So basically this country gave birth to democracy, philosophy, mythology, and basically everything that laid the foundations for Western culture. When we think about stuff like Socrates or like Plato, everyone knows who they are and how they impacted philosophy and our way of thinking. There's a bunch of contributions to art, architecture, mathematics, science, and basically everything that impacted our global heritage. So basically, when we say that Greece is the cradle of Western civilization, we're talking about all the ideas and concepts that, all these forefathers laid down for us that basically define our society today. Alright, so moving on, that was kind of basic, but, we're going to be moving on to a little more juicier stuff, okay? So, number 2, alright, we got the idea of democracy. Alright, when we think of democracy, we think about some some president, random president, and we think, people getting angry at politicians. I don't know. Basically, back in ancient Greece, around 508 BC, in Athens, they came up with this groundbreaking concept called democracy, and it was basically a total game changer. So in those days, many societies were ruled by kings or aristocrats, like the top of society, and then there'd be the bottom of society. There'd kind of be like a tier to this. But the Greeks decided to try something different. Democracy, which basically by definition means rule by the people, was all about giving ordinary citizens, the lower class, a voice in how their government worked. So talking about how the rules were, or what could and what couldn't happen. So basically they would gather in a place called the assembly to discuss and vote on laws, policies, and important decisions. There would be no elected representatives here. Every citizen had a direct say. So, you just be able to say your thing, It was kind of revolutionary because people were like, I'm him, They had the power. So, they got to vote on taxes and everything, the scary word taxes. Should our city go to war? And basically all about the aspect. So, even the jury system, and yeah, that's basically about democracy. So, W Greeks. Now, finally, the Olympics. Alright, we're gonna be talking about the Olympics. I know we're skipping a bunch of stuff, and basically I'm just talking about stuff that I personally just find interesting, so bear with me. So way back in 8th century BC, the Greeks held the first Olympic Games in Olympia. Olympia, we see a bunch of movies about Olympia. It just sounds like the super cool place, and yeah. I wish I went there, seen a game or a little one too, but yeah, it's not possible. And these games weren't just about sports, they were religious festivals dedicated to Zeus, the king of the Greek gods. Basically the Greeks believed that participating in these games would honor the gods and promote physical fitness and excellence. So basically, yeah, just picture this, athletes from different Greek city-states would just gather every 4 years to compete. And we're not just talking about track and field here. There was everything, sprinting, long jump, chariot racing, just no fancy equipment, just sheer skill and determination. And one of the coolest things was the Olympic truce. Basically, during the games, a sacred truce was declared and all wars and conflicts were put on hold. So athletes and spectators could just travel safe to Olympia and just, show the love for sports, W Greeks again, man. W Greeks. Alright, so now we're getting to a little more juicier part. We're getting to level 2, baby. We're like that. Alright, so now we're talking about Aristophanes. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing this. Aristophanes, okay? He discovered that the earth is in fact round. He's smart, okay? So he noticed that on a certain day in 2 different cities, the sun cast no shadow at the bottom of a well in one place, but another place it did. Weird. I know it's weird. But like using this info, he calculated that the Earth's size with jaw-dropping accuracy. And we're talking about the heliocentric model. Alright, so this mind-boggling idea that the Earth and other planets revolve around the sun, this was like, revolutionary. Now, Aristotle's work, along with Copernicus's, basically laid the foundation for our modern understanding of our place in the universe. So now, we learn all of these astrophysics and all this stuff, it's basically how these Greek, forefathers laid down these foundations. So next, we're moving on to Atlantis, the crazy name Atlantis. We all know what Atlantis is, but do we all really know what Atlantis is and where it came from? Alright, so according to Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, Atlantis was a mythical island kingdom. Mythical island, that sounds so cool, man. Come on. Basically described in his dialogues like Timaeus and Critias. That's what it was described in. And he painted this picture of a utopian society with advanced technology, grand architecture, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Man, it sounds so cool, you know what I mean? But like, here's the twist of it. It was sunk beneath the waves in a catastrophic event. Alright, so all this stuff was written around 360 BC. And Plato claimed that he heard about Atlantis from his ancestors, Solon, who heard it from Egyptian priests. There's a lot of theories and stuff, so we don't really know if Atlantis existed. Alright, but like when I watch these movies about Atlantis, come on, it has to be real. It just sounds so cool. So it's up to you guys, if you guys think it's real or not. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, some people believe it's true, some people believe it's false. Alright, so moving on. Now we're getting into the next stage. Alright, we're getting even deeper. The guy, he got curly hair now. He got a perm. I don't know how. Alright, but let's just get into it. We're gonna talk about how the Greek statues were painted. Alright, you might be surprised, by this fact, but listen. These white marble statues from ancient Greece that we see everywhere, that we talk about, like look at that guy. That guy's so cool. But they weren't always so plain and pale. There were ones vibrant and painted in eye-catching hues. And archaeological research and traces of pigments have revealed that artists in ancient Greece used so many colors, from reds to blues to yellows and greens. Let me know what's your favorite color. But they basically bring these statues to life. And these painted sculptures weren't just for decoration. They played a crucial role in telling stories, conveying emotions, like emotions that words alone couldn't. And the Greeks believed in the power of color to evoke feelings and give their art a lifelike quality. But over time, exposure to the elements and centuries of wear and tear faded these vibrant colors, leaving behind, timeless monochrome masterpieces that we know today. And this is even common, like Statue of Liberty. It was once a different color, now it's a different color because of corrosion, and so stuff like this happens when these colors and everything, they mix with the atmosphere. And I'm just yapping, but I'm trying to act smart, but you guys know what I mean. Alright, moving on. We're gonna be talking about how Alexander the Great, his army might have been directly related to the Kalash people. So basically, Alexander the Great, for all of y'all who don't know, he was a legendary conqueror who swept through Asia in the 4th century BC, leaving his mark far and wide. Some historians suggest that his soldiers may have settled in remote areas, including the Kalash Valley in Pakistan, over the centuries. So basically, the Kalash people are unique in their customs and appearance, and they stand out. So they have fair complexions, light-colored eyes, and often fair hair, and these physical features are distinct from most other South Asian populations, fueling the speculation that they might be connected to Alexander's army. I know it's odd, but what if? So there's no concrete proof for this actually, but genetic studies have shown that the Kalash people do have some genetic markers that are commonly found in European populations. Now this doesn't mean this is, like obviously proof. Wow, everyone look, Alexander's army. No, it's not proof. But like trade and migration in the region may also played a role in shaping their genetics, like the Silk Roads and whatever and whatnot. So we can't say for sure. Alright, so now Greek fire. Alright, I just wanted to research this because it just sounds cool. Greek fire. It's fire. It has to be fire. So
The exact recipe for Greek fire was a closely guarded state secret, passed down from generation to generation. And what was Greek fire? It was like deployed in naval warfare, wow, where ships would unleash jets of these mysteriously fury substances onto their foes, causing chaos and destruction. And what made Greek fire so terrifying was it could even burn on water, making it a naval game changer. I'm talking game changer. Alright, so imagine being on the receiving end of that in the middle of a battle at sea. The exact ingredients of Greek fire also remain a mystery, but it's believed to have included substances like petroleum, quicklime, and sulfur. They had it all, my boys. Alright, so it's also said that the Byzantines used a primitive form of a flamethrower to project Greek fire towards their enemies. So the secret of Greek fire was so valuable that basically was protected like top secret. Nobody could have it. Emperors even had inventors and engineers swear oaths never to reveal its composition. And sadly, the recipe has been lost over time, and no one knows exactly how to recreate it today. But maybe we have stuff better, maybe we don't. But shout out to the Greeks for that. Greek fire. Alright, so now we're getting to even more crazy stuff. Now we grew a beard. Alright, so now what we're gonna be talking about is Zeno's paradoxes. Okay, so this dude named Zeno of Elea was a smart dude. Alright, so he came up with these paradoxes around 450 BC that basically messed with people's heads. One of the most famous was Achilles and the tortoise paradox. Now it's not gonna make any sense, alright? But basically he argued that Achilles, the legendary Greek hero, could never catch a slower tortoise in a race. Why? Because before he could reach the tortoise, he'd have to cover half the distance, and before he could reach the half point, he'd have to cover half the distance, and so on. Basically, to cover half the half distance, he'd have to cover half the distance, then have I don't know. I don't know either. I'm sorry. Alright, so basically, he said that this process would go on infinity, meaning Achilles could never catch the tortoise. Anyways, another mind bender from Zeno is the dichotomy paradox. And picture this: to walk from one side of a room to the other, you first have to reach the halfway point. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. Moving on. Let's just move on. Now we're talking about allegory of the cave. I don't know if I said that right, I'm sorry. But picture this: you got a bunch of people stuck in a dark cave their whole lives, facing a wall. They're chained up, can't turn around. It's already getting spooky, I'm sorry. But we gotta go through this. So all they see are shadows of objects behind them, casting a fire and puppeteers. These shadows become their entire reality, and they give them names, believing that's all there is. They don't know any reality beyond that. But here's where it gets trippy. One day, someone breaks free and leaves the cave, experiencing the real world bathed in sunlight. Initially blinded, they start to see the true beauty of the world. All the trees, the ladies, especially the ladies, and understanding that the cave shadows were mere illusions. Now, when this enlightened person returns to the cave to share this knowledge, the others think they're nuts and resist the truth. So what's the deal with this? Plato used it to illustrate his theory of forms and the idea that our physical world is just a shadow of a higher, unchanging reality. It just sounds odd, but he believed that only philosophers who seek knowledge and truth can escape the cave's illusion and comprehend the true nature of existence. I don't know. Is he trying to say philosophers are cooler than us, bro? I don't know. I don't know. But that's Plato's allegory. Alright, so now we're talking about the ship of Theseus. I'm sorry. I know I'm butchering these names. I'm sorry. But let's sail into this fascinating paradox of the ship of Theseus. Alright, so imagine you've got this ancient ship, the ship of Theseus, which has been around for centuries. I'm talking centuries. As time goes by, parts of the ship starts to wear out, so they replace them with new ones. This process continues until every single part of the ship has been replaced at least once. Now here's the kicker. Is it still the same ship of Theseus? Is it? Is it are you still gonna call it the ship of Theseus? But hold up, it even gets even more mind-bending. Let's say someone collected all the original parts that were replaced and decided to rebuild the ship using the exact same pieces, glued bit by bit. I'm talking, bit by bit, everything. Now, if you got two ships claiming to be the ship of Theseus, which is the real one? Basically, I don't know, it's trippy. And this paradox raises questions about identity, change, and the nature of objects over time. It's like a riddle for philosophers that's been debated for centuries. And there's no one-size-fits-all answers. Some say the ship's identity is in its continuous existence, while others argue it's about the original parts, you know. The ship is the ship. Now we're getting to even more juicier stuff. Alright? We're gonna start off by talking about Mycenaean heavy plate armor. Okay? So this armor was made from bronze, a metal that was abundant at the time. We all know bronze. And it was seriously tough stuff. It consisted of various pieces, including the breastplate called a cuirass, which covered the chest and back, and shin guards known as greaves to protect the legs. And the Mycenaeans were way ahead of their time in terms of armor innovation. They used bronze because it was more durable and protective than the earlier leather or linen armor used by other civilizations, and it looked intimidating. So two birds in one stone, you know? And one iconic feature of Mycenaean armor was its intricate decorations and engravings, often depicting scenes from mythology or epic battles. And these designs added a touch of artistry to the battlefield. You know, it was nice. It was nice to look at, a little aesthetic, Now here's the thing: Mycenaean heavy plate armor was not for the faint heart. It was also pretty darn heavy, and wearers had to be seriously strong to wear it. You know, shout out Arnold. You know, they might have had to been that guy, but it offered top-notch protection, which was essential in the brutal warfare of the time.